What's going on there, YouTube? And welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we're going to jump back over to Marvel Comics and continue our coverage over the Ultimate Marvel Universe. Today, we're going to wrap up Ultimate Comics Ultimates with Volume 6, I want to say, really. Could be wrong. But this is where we get introduced to Ultimate Krang, but also we get introduced to the Dark Ultimates. And we also learn about the origin of the Infinity Stones. So, if you do like today's comic book video, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. But I do hope you enjoy today's video. In the opening pages, we open with the Hulk. Of course, we have not seen the Hulk since I think Jonathan Hickman's time on the Ultimates. Either way, he was visited by someone asking for his help. So of course, there goes the Hulk joining this mysterious new team. Now this is where we learn where the Ultimate Marvel Universe version of the Infinity Stones came from. That each stone appeared after the Earth had gone through a dramatic event like Ultimatum, or when Atlantis has sunk into the ocean. There are still 3 stones missing, but Susan Storm shows us what she can do with the Infinity Stones they have at the moment. Before she is able to explain more about the stones and their powers, well, the whole building blows up. The Triskelion is gone again. Luckily, the heroes were able to get out in time. But this is the moment they find out that the Hulk had escaped. To make matters worse, the Hulk was able to get his hands on both of the Infinity Gauntlets and the stones the Ultimates had gathered. Now this is a Hulk who is not as savage as he was in the past. We saw a glimpse of a Hulk more intelligent the last couple of times he appeared, except now this is Bruce Banner showing control over the Hulk. With him being a Hulk and having the Infinity Stones, he is literally unbeatable. The Ultimates tried their best to stop him, and Captain America doing the usual "we will find a way to stop him" speech. This is Hulk showing Captain America that he is completely wrong, and that he's about to get his butt kicked. It's even funnier when Tony Stark brain tumor that has a mind of its own calls in the Hulk Buster armor, which it does look like it gives them the edge and they may have stopped the Hulk, except again, it is the Hulk who is intelligent and has the Infinity Stones. The next twist is when we jump back into the past. Just like the Hulk, Reed Richards was broken out by someone and he had already agreed to work with this person. Reed then tells us that another Infinity Stone has appeared. Remember, these stones only come to life after a traumatic event. For this one, it was the falling of Reed's futuristic city we saw in Jonathan Hickman Ultimates video. Quicksilver is already retrieving the stone. Back in the present day, well, you have Reed, Hulk, and Quicksilver begin the process of beating down on the Ultimates. Something I want you guys to remember is that Thor is not as powerful as he used to be since Asgard was destroyed. So he really doesn't even stand a chance that some of you may think. Either way, we get these pages watching the Ultimates losing to the Dark Ultimates. To the point, we see Thor using the tech that let him still beat Thor to get everyone out of there before they could get killed by the Dark Ultimates. Except, of course, Captain America got left behind. But once the Ultimates leave, we see who was the one who freed Reed Richards, Hulk, and Quicksilver. We get a look of Ultimate Krang. So some time has passed by where we see the Dark Ultimates have begun the process of changing the world for the better. that in the couple of days of them working together, they have fixed a lot of the world's problems, showing that these guys are so smart and know how to fix certain things. These guys are making it hard for the world to continue to fall in love with the Ultimates. That looks what these guys have done for the world. They have done things in 3 days. So much better than what the Ultimates have done in the years they had tried to change the world. Getting back to the Ultimates, we see that they have gone to one of Tony Stark's hidden warehouse, but they are trying to find a way to come back and beat the Dark Ultimates. The problem is that Reed Richards have made it hard for Tony Stark to get back any of his armors and make any move with technology. So with them being cornered, you have Thor just of course think that they should go back and fight. Basically, the basic plan of Thor, just keep smashing until you win. So he leaves to go fight against the Dark Ultimates on his own. Now getting back to Reed Richards, we see him continuing to work to make the Earth better, except he is then greeted by Susan Storm. This is huge. In this universe, they dated, but they broke up, and for Susan Storm to see her ex being a bad guy, she thinks she has to be the one to stop him, except she did not come alone. We see that she brought Ben Grimm with her, the best friend of Reed Richards. Now, the way the book is being drawn, it seems that Susan Storm and Ben Grimm are actually able to stop Reed. They are beating him down like this is so easy, which we know that this fight should not be this easy. We then switch over to Hawkeye, and we see him being able to find Captain America, and of course, he is trying to break Captain America out, except Hawkeye is greeted by Ultimate Krang. This is, of course, the first time Hawkeye has met Krang. This whole interaction shows that Hawkeye really does not stand a chance against Krang, and he is captured by Krang. Shifting the focus on Thor, we see that he did not go to attack the Dark Ultimates like we thought he would do, except he went to a nearby bar to get a few drinks. That is when he is greeted by Hulk. Remember that these two have been rivals in this universe since the very beginning. So seeing the Hulk hunt down Thor to get the chance to fight him makes sense, since Thor has always beaten down on Hulk. Well, won most of the fights. Either way, you have Thor and Hulk begin to do battle, and honestly, we don't get to see this fight until later on. Now we get the chance to learn about where the 7th Infinity Stone is located. Honestly, this part got me, because you have Tony Stark and Monica Chang chilling in this hidden base, except that is when they both get attacked by Quicksilver, and this shows that Reed Richards knew where to find them. He was just waiting for the right time to attack. The reason why I say that is because the 7th stone was in the Avengers' possession this whole time, and they had no idea. The tumor that was inside Tony Stark's head was actually the 7th Infinity Stone. So when Quicksilver knocks out Monica Chang and then opens the brain of Tony Stark to reveal the 7th Infinity Stone. So this leads us into seeing that Tony Stark is now a hostage to Reed Richards. This is Reed Richards doing surgery on Tony Stark. If you are wondering how Reed Richards is here right now and not still fighting against Susan Storm and Ben Grimm, that will be explained very soon. For right now, we see Reed Richards doing surgery on Tony Stark to pull out the 7th Infinity Stone. It's Reed stating that thanks to Tony Stark, his thoughts being so toxic, it gave birth to an Infinity Stone. Now you have Reed explain to us that he is not really there fighting against Susan Storm and Ben Grimm. It was a clone of him, to be more exact. This leads into him explaining more of the birth of the stones and why the Dark Ultimates were formed, stating with the idea of how the multiverse is stacked. Universes stacked on top of each other. The Ultimate Marvel Universe is in the middle. Once a universe is born, then it begins to die. Now, Susan Storm explains that the Infinity Stones were made to be white cells of the universe, helped to protect the universe from dying. Reed even explained that there were Infinity Stones in the End Zone. We covered the End Zone back in Ultimate Fantastic Four Volume 2. It's technically another universe in the multiverse stack. Reed proceeds to explain and say that the End Zone has its own set of Infinity Stones, or it did. It was found by the End Zone version of Reed Richards, except he failed and actually used the stones to become the Watcher, the same Watcher we saw back in Ultimate Origins, the same one who made Rick Jones the protector of the universe. Either way, it is Reed Richards claiming that he is going to do better than his counterpart. Now, we do get reminded about Captain America and Hawkeye. Hawkeye tried to save Captain America but failed and got captured as well. Well, this is them meeting Ultimate Krang. And of course, you have Captain America trying to fight against Krang and of course, unable to stop Krang. Where you have Captain America speak in a way that he is going to find a way out of this prison that Krang made for them. Sadly, you have Krang mention that even if they get out of this cell, this building they are in, well, it is a floating building in the middle of the End Zone. So basically, with these two not being scientists, they won't be leaving anytime soon. Next section is Nick Fury finding his wife Monica Chang passed out, and so he does wake her up. That is when he tells her about the team that he has put together, and we saw a glimpse of him recruiting a team. Of course, that team is the Howling Commandos. You have Falcon, Cassie Lang, the Punisher, Abigail Brand, but this is where we learn about these other characters. Emil Blonsky, who is usually known as Abomination in the main Marvel universe, but here, Mercenary. Danny Ketch, usually the Ghost Rider in the main Marvel universe, but again is a mercenary. Dum Dum Dugan is there as well. The last person we get introduced to is Zeus' son. Of course, it is Hercules. So to wrap up Chapter 3, we see Quicksilver knock out Susan Storm and Ben Grimm. That is when they figure out they never actually fought against Reed Richards. So you have Reed Richards show Tony Stark that basically the Ultimates are falling apart and they really can't win this battle. The ending of Chapter 3 is when we see Reed Richards goes ahead and kills off Tony Stark. He flatlines right there. It seems to be the end of Tony Stark. Back in the End Zone, we see Reed Richards' robots are dropping off Thor, who of course was badly beaten by Hulk. This is where you have Captain America and Reed Richards have a heart-to-heart moment. When I say heart-to-heart moment, I mean that Reed Richards is telling Captain America that he failed as a hero. In the few days with the Dark Ultimates, they have made the world better. We saw that. Except what Reed Richards did is use fear and their powers to make the world let them change the world for the better. That basically there is no freedom. Not letting the human race organically grow to fix their problems. To Reed, he gave them their freedom by ending so many problems for the Earth. This concept continues on in the next page with the Hulk in Africa, where he sees an explosion happen coming from a nearby village. This section is pointing out that even though the Dark Ultimates had made the world a better place, there are still people out there who are trying to fight against the Dark Ultimates because they are feeling forced to follow orders from the Dark Ultimates. Now, this situation does not last that long because the Hulk handled the problem very quickly. But this is showing the big issues right now in the world. The Dark Ultimates think they are doing an amazing job with the world, except they are building a world where people are beginning to hate them. We get to see Krang hanging out with Reed Richards, and they're acting like they are best buds. Well, really more like maybe they are lovers, except she points out that Reed is trying to do things that she did not want him to do. She knew the things he has done so far in this book could lead to what she is trying to prevent, which is to save the universe. But then you have Quicksilver appear. Now, Quicksilver thinks that Krang is Wanda, his sister, the Scarlet Witch. Now, we know that this is not the Scarlet Witch, but the reveal of who it is, we will see that reveal at the tail end of this book. Either way, she wants Reed to focus on saving the universe. Here comes the big plot twist of the book. Well, one of many. Because when you have Reed Richards send his robots to go collect Tony Stark's different Iron Man armors, that is when they detect a different brainwave that does not belong. The question is, whose? And we can see a glimpse that the hidden brainwave is Tony Stark. Tony Stark's brainwave was transferred from his mind to Reed Richards' system. When Reed Richards finds out, the big question is at first, what is this rogue brainwave? Except this is where he realized that the brainwave belongs to Tony Stark. And the question is, how did Tony Stark transfer his brainwave into Reed Richards' technology? Before we can learn more about that, we have to see that Quicksilver is going to get someone who we have not seen since the beginning of Ultimate Comics X-Men. That was written by Nick Spencer. But we see Quicksilver get this character, takes him back to Reed because the last stone has been found. Of course, that stone is buried near the core of the earth. Only one person is able to reach down there, and that person is the Human Torch, who is now under the control of Reed Richards to be able to collect the final Infinity Stone. Now, Tony Stark being inside the system of Reed Richards, well, his brainwaves really, he is able to take control of some of the robots where he is able to break Captain America and Hawkeye out of prison in the negative zone. While at the same time, he begins to rebuild some of his armor and to show that he is no longer needs a body to be Iron Man. In the opening of the 5th chapter, we see that Quicksilver tells us that he knows that Krang is not Wanda, aka the Scarlet Witch. That the way she has been talking to Reed, he knows more than they are letting on. That he knows that she is something else, but he will play the long game, which means he will do everything they ask him to do, but he is going to make sure that the Human Torch does get near the core of the earth so he can get that final Infinity Stone. Now we pick up with Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos, where they are about to be attacked by one of Tony Stark's Hulkbusters. Luckily, Tony Stark does appear and defeats it, except the question does come up. Where in the world did Tony Stark come from? How in the world is this man here at this moment right now? He tells them that, hey, he transferred his mind into Reed Richards' system. He now has control over Reed Richards' system now. Getting back to Quicksilver again, we focus on the fact again that he knows Ultimate Krang is not Wanda. he kept going with Krang and Reed's plan to fix the universe or whatever they are planning on doing. Except with Quicksilver being a speedster, he was able to do the math formula Reed left out at least 100 times. With him doing that, he was able to find out that Reed and Krang do plan to save the world, except mutants were going to be erased from the universe. To Ultimate Krang, mutants were going to be the downfall for the Ultimate Marvel Universe. So, with Quicksilver knowing that now, he leaves trying not to give Reed the final Infinity Stone. Krang realized that Quicksilver knows their plans, so she stops him and gives him an injury that is going to lead to his death here in a minute. She does take the final Infinity Stone. This is the moment we see the Dark Ultimates just fall apart completely. What I mean is that with Reed stretching his body and brain into 3 different versions of himself, meaning that each brain did not have the full intelligence of Reed. It was cut into thirds. So Tony Stark was able to get one over Reed Richards here. And you have Susan and Ben Grimm come back also to make things worse for Reed. Except when the Ultimates think that they have won the big battle, that is when everyone is confronted by Ultimate Krang. And this leads into the big reveal that Ultimate Krang is not Nathaniel Richards, that actually it is Susan Storm from the future. She's the one from the future trying to save the future. This is where we learn the true reason why Reed Richards turned evil after Ultimatum. He was visited by Ultimate Krang. Of course, Krang is Susan Storm from the future. She came to him a week after Ultimatum. Of course, the big event where Magneto went crazy and was the worst event in Ultimate Marvel. Not the worst in Marvel, but pretty bad. Either way, she tells how she was sent from the future by Reed Richards' future self, that at the end of the time for the universe, there was nothing, which makes him join her side to save the future. That is why in Ultimate Doom, he turned evil and basically tried attacking the universe. Now, honestly, this is where I skip over all of the fighting and just jump into the point where you have Tony Stark get his hands on the stones to bring himself back to life. Except after doing that, he tries to use the stones to only have them quit, to have them not work anymore. And we find this out when the stones begin to show a glimpse of the main Marvel universe, which to Reed means they are too late to use the stones to prevent whatever is going to happen, which he is correct. They are too late as the stones begin to break apart, being unable to use them anymore in this timeline. To Ultimate Krang as well, since she says it's too late and she leaves to go to an earlier time, hoping to find a way to stop what will happen to the Ultimate Marvel Universe. The book ends with Susan Storm meeting up with Reed Richards in his cell. She tells him that they have detected something coming. This thing they have detected could be what ends the Ultimate Marvel Universe. They think it's Ultimate Galactus, except really it is the original Galactus from the main Marvel Universe. And this is where we are going to end today's video. So please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read? Well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's video.